Hi, and welcome to the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. I am your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins. I am a modern mystic, and I am here to share with you the beautiful wisdom and stories from women that desire to lead their lives inspired by the divine within them. The divinely inspired woman is devoted to walking the path of her soul's calling, tuning into the divinity within to navigate life with ease and grace through all circumstances. She cultivates beauty in her daily life. She is here to share the most authentic self each day through thick and thin. So I hope you enjoy our show today and that you will leave with an infusion of inspiration for your soul and for your day and living your life. Hey, hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Divinely Inspired Woman. I'm your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I have a lovely, beautiful guest with me today, Amorita Mugno, and we are going to be talking to her about a lot of really divinely inspired things, I think, just from reading your bio here. You are a multi-passionate creator, speaker, writer, divine guide, like that, energy healer, and lover of life. And you also have a podcast called the Shrink Yourself podcast. So I definitely want to hear some about that as well. So welcome. Thank you for joining me here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and grateful to be here.
Yeah.
Really excited. So the bio, it's always so interesting for me with bios and niching down, because I've kind of found, to be honest, that my niche is for the multi-passionate creators that want to do all the things, right? For me, I'm an artist and a dancer, and I love to work with beautiful souls and meet them where they are. And I'm certified as a life coach, a holy fire energy Reiki healer, and so many different avenues and things that I love to explore. So it's interesting because that kind of became my niche, is for the ones that want to do everything. They want to do it all and really figure out what's in most divine alignment for them moment by moment, since we are these multidimensional, infinite beings, right? Sometimes it's hard when we, at least for me, when we feel like we're in a box or have to kind of put ourselves in a category. So the multi-passionate creator comes through in everything that I do. I really love being grounded in purpose. That's kind of become my slogan. My name means little love. So a little love, a lot of purpose, because I think that purpose is grounded in everything we do, right? When we talk about being inspired, I always think of inspired in spirit, so much bigger than us. And that kind of is what my podcast is about too, meaning the Shrink Yourself podcast. So this came about for two different meanings. I'm a big mountain girl. I'm from Colorado originally. And I always love the feeling, whether it's being at the Grand Canyon or Bryce Canyon or on a mountain summit somewhere, of feeling small and knowing that the world is so big and that the earth is so big surrounding me. And it's so much bigger than just me, because as a human on earth, it can be really easy to get caught up in the humanness and the problems that we may be experiencing. So that's one of the meanings of the Shrink Yourself, remembering that it's so much bigger than us, that we're a part of this massive collective, that we're all one. And then also meaning shrink yourself as be your own shrink, be your own healer, be the one that's willing to do the self-development. Because listen, I love therapy and working with healers and working with coaches and guides. And also, if we aren't the ones willing to show up and do the work, then we aren't going to get a lot out of those sessions and those outside support systems. So that's a big part of what I talk about on the podcast, is how can I shrink myself through feelings of fear, feelings of suffering, whatever it is that we experience in this human walk, which is so expansive and so divine, and also really hard. So that's kind of what I talk about there. But yeah, just a little bit about what I do and why I'm here on this earth.
I love all of that. I love all of that. I love the Colorado mountains too. I've spent a lot of time on mountain peaks and remembering just my little place in the bigger world, the bigger universe too. So I totally relate to that. What a rich podcast. Wow. I'm definitely going to have to listen to some of those episodes. And the creator part, the creatrix. Well, you didn't say creatrix, but that's what I
That's, you got it. You nailed it, because it is real when we think about, especially the divine feminine energy. What a creatrix, right? The creator and the creatrix of being able to birth things into the physical. And as women, we are the portal from the spiritual realm into the physical realm. So I love when we can talk about being in that creatrix energy and really recognizing that we're constantly co-creating with the universe and with the energies around us. And a big part of what I do too is alchemizing, being an alchemist. I remember reading The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and it changed my life. If anyone listening, if you haven't read that book,
that's a great
definitely check it out. It's so incredible. There's so many nuggets of wisdom in there. But for me, that was something where I was really able to recognize we're gifted with so many different experiences, again, in this human walk and on this earth. How can we alchemize the experience for our soul's greatest expansion? What can we make of it? How can we learn? How can we grow in the process? So I love the energy of alchemizing. And that's something I'm so passionate about too. And just that whole energy. And I love that now those are things people are talking about. People are talking about transmutation of energy and alchemizing. So it's a really exciting time to be a part of the collective and what we're experiencing and seeing, witnessing on earth right now.
Yeah, the alchemy. I don't know if you're familiar with the body of work called the Gene Keys, which is something that I weave into a lot of my work, but it talks about that transmutation and that alchemy of working through all the energies from the low, the more human vibrations through the gift levels and into, the essence or the Siddhic, the more godlike energies. But it's all about that alchemy now, right? Us sitting with what's moving through us, and rather than reacting to it, like letting it transform us, right? Transmuting it. And that's so alchemy is we could go down many rabbit holes with that.
I know, right? That's what I'm feeling too. I'm like, the power of pause, responding rather than reacting. So many things flowing through, so much goodness.
Pause. Yeah. So, and I know that before we hopped on the call, to record, I'd asked you, where you're living right now, and is there something that guided you to move from the mountains to where you're at now?
Thank you for asking this question. How divine. I'm not surprised that this is coming up. So this is actually my 4th time now living in Florida. And I've lived all over the place, including Hawaii, Texas, California, Oregon, Florida 4 times, Colorado a few times. So I love to travel. It's a huge part of who I am, being able to go wherever I want and go with the wind and really allow my spirit to be free in that sense. For me, every time I left Florida, I actually would say, I'm never going back there. Every time. And now I've been here 4 times. So clearly there's a soul pull and an alignment here for me in Florida. And this last time that I moved here was actually so divine. So I was sitting in meditation. I'm big into prayer and meditation and having that silence. So I asked, where can I go that I will be the most of service? And I was doing fairly well in Colorado. I was starting to get consistent clients. I was really feeling grounded, but I knew that that wasn't where I was meant to stay in that moment. So I remember asking so clearly, wherever you need me to be the most of service, I will go. Let me know where it is. And so I was in a deep prayer and meditation. And the next day, my brother and I went on a hike. And I love trees and I love tree bark. I'm a true Taurus and earth sign. I'm just in love with the earth in so many ways. So I was hanging out with this tree and I was just kind of grazing my hand, and this piece of bark just naturally fell off. And I looked at it and it was in the shape of the state of Florida, like perfectly. Wow. Cannot make it up. So I'm like, okay, I love getting clarification. I'm a big clarification girl, working with my guides and angels in the universe. So I say, okay, I'm taking this as maybe Florida, give me more signs, more clarity, more direction. And then it was like so many signs everywhere, being bombarded with signs. So I took the leap. I was thinking to myself, I had said that I didn't want to go here, but I feel like this is in divine alignment and I feel like I'm going to be able to be most of service. So now show me where. And I kind of went deeper into that. And it was very interesting because I remember so distinctly, I was driving to work. I was working a serving job part-time while I was still working my business. And I was at a stoplight listening to music. And I had this feeling of, why would I leave where I am? I love where I'm living. I love what I have going on. I love the clients that I'm working with. Everything's really stable right now. Why would I leave? And so I'm at this stoplight contemplating these thoughts. And I hear, because that's one of my gifts, is being able to hear fairly clearly. So I hear, look at the license plate in front of you. So I looked and it was Montana, which I love Montana. Montana's gorgeous. I visited. It's one of my favorite places. And I'm like, Montana, I said this out loud. Montana, really? And I hear, no, look closer. And I looked at the car with the Montana plate, and in their back windshield, there was a Florida license plate. And I heard, you're going. You need to go.
That's awesome.
I was like, all right, I trust. And that's how I ended up here. So yeah, I've been here now again for just over 2 years. It's been a blessing to be here.
I love that. That is a divinely inspired story.
Absolutely.
That's terrific. Yeah. And I mean, are there so we have a diverse audience. I feel like people listen in that are just beginning to open up to being, using their inner knowing and their divine guidance and all of that, to people who have been on this path for a long time. Is there any story, or we're going to get to stories and books here in a minute. Is there any story that you can share to inspire, those that are more new to the path? Because it sounds like you've been on this for a while already. So I love that.
Yeah, great question. Great thing to bring forward. I think it's all about knowing that it's our own sacred experience, and whatever we're experiencing, it's up to us to really feel it. So I think that we all have different gifts. I truly believe every single human on this planet has their own set of unique gifts and their own unique skill sets. So I think when it comes to divine inspiration, divine guidance, and really starting on this path, it's about trust and trusting how we feel, trusting our intuition, trusting what comes through for us. And I think a big part of that too is maybe releasing outside opinions of what is accepted and what's not, because I feel that a lot of times so many people, and I've witnessed this in friends, family, and clients, they have something so divine happen to them and they try to come up with logical reasons as to how and why, and they try to make sense of it, which, listen, that's such a human thing, right? We're conditioned to think that way, but it's from shifting from thinking, using the logical side, the logical mind, to feeling, which really is the divine feminine of how does my body feel? When something's in divine alignment, we feel it. Our chakras, they click into place. We feel that essence of, this is where I'm meant to be. I feel like I'm at home. I know that I'm here for a reason. I don't know why I was supposed to turn right at this light and take this back way home, but I'm trusting it, because when we can trust, ooh, I just got chills down my back. This is wonderful. When we can trust those little nudges, sometimes they're not huge. I think a lot of times in the beginning, we may think that there are going to be these giant signs that slap us in the face, and maybe they will. But a lot of times it's really little nudges, because I feel like that's kind of our way of getting integrated and initiated into our own gifts of, like I said, take this way home instead, or maybe don't go to that thing. Maybe cancel, or maybe do this. It's those little intuitive nudges that when we can follow that divine guidance, then I find so often that that's when it's reaffirmed of, okay, I listened to my intuition. This thing happened, or maybe we don't know why. Maybe we find out later, oh, that's why I didn't do that thing, or hang out with that person, or say yes to that opportunity. Maybe we never find out, but it's that reaffirming feeling of, oh yeah, I can trust my intuition. It's safe. I don't have to be so in the head, in the logical mind.
Right.
I can really drop into my heart space and into my sacral chakra and feel what feels good for me, what feels into alignment. And the more that we can just allow ourselves to experience and explore, and the more open we are, which I'm such a big fan of, opening our hearts to whatever it is that we're exploring, putting ourselves out there, the more magic we're going to be able to experience. But a lot of times, and I've witnessed this, where someone will experience a miracle and they try to make sense of it. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, just soak it in, let it be present with it, allow that energy to maximize rather than trying to figure out, why did that happen? Where did that come from? Being so in the head, and really, again, dropping into that heart.
Dropping into the body. Yeah. And just receiving that ease and grace that comes from following that inner, like that place within you, right? It's a softness. It's definitely a softer place, because the mind can be really sharp and kind of darty and creates all kinds of structures that don't let you move. It paralyzes you. And I think that, as you're saying, we're in a time now where there's so much going on now, that if we relied on just our brains to navigate this, we're just going to keep repeating the same things over and over again. We can't solve, I think it was Albert Einstein or somebody who said that. I can't remember. You can't solve the problem when you're from within the same, reality, or the same frequency or space, or whatever you want to call it, that you have to really drop in to a different place to find your way. So I love that you offered that up for people, that the divine feminine, to that softer, heart opening way. And the masculine is in there too, right? We know that the divine masculine sits in there holding space in our hearts too, to really guide us. How is that relationship for you? I know we're going to talk a little bit about this book that you have a chapter in, that we both have a chapter in, but that you have a chapter in, called Stories of the Goddess. And how does the divine masculine weave into your life?
Oh, I love this question. Thank you. Such great questions. I'm so grateful for this. So I am such a believer that we both have energies within. Every single one of us, and that they truly are energies. It's the yin and the yang. It's the divine feminine, divine masculine. And I think that it's very interesting to witness when we've been in maybe a paradigm where right now there's maybe some shame around the masculine and the patriarchy, bringing back that king energy of the divine masculine, knowing that that is within us too. And just as you said, the masculine, the divine masculine, is in the heart space, holding space. That is the divine masculine energy. So I love working with both energies. And it's interesting because I actually have had a lot of divine masculine energy in my life, just because of how I was raised. And I had to really be able to be in my masculine to survive, particularly in childhood, because I needed to protect myself. I needed to create the space. It wasn't safe at that time for me to be open, for me to be vulnerable, for me to really be flourishing in that divine feminine energy. I had to be in that protector, provider role. That is that strength of the divine masculine. So being able to have this really beautiful flowing dance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy within, being in that divine union, then we experience that harmonious union energy in everything in our lives. And we're able to see each other so fully, because we can recognize that, again, it's not a gender specific thing. It's an energy thing where there isn't shame around that, where we can honor both energies within us. Because I feel that there is this sense too of, I don't want to say pushing into be in your feminine, but sometimes it's really, I love my masculine energy. It's really great to step in and ground in that incredible divine masculine energy and really create that space, hold that container, take action. Because for me, when I think of the divine masculine energy, it's very much an action energy. I always think of almost the divine feminine is very much 5D. The divine masculine really operates well in the 3D. And this is this beautiful dance where we can create heaven on earth in this union energy of the divine masculine and divine feminine energy, but it really does start within. And I think that it's about recognizing we're already whole and knowing that, again, the energies are going to dance. They're going to flow. We're going to be sometimes needing to be in our masculine energy in that moment. And then we'll be able to shift back into the divine feminine essence and really be receptive and open and fluid and intuitive and all of these things. And it's not to say that the divine feminine is this energy and the divine masculine is not that. They're both, they're one. It's the God and goddess consciousness that creates everything that is whole. So I think it's so important for us as a collective to keep it balanced rather than, oh, we've been so in this patriarchy that's no longer working. Whoop, let's go this way. It's about really bringing in, that balance and that harmony and that love that is the divine, that is divine inspiration and union.
Beautifully said. That divine union, right, within ourselves. That seems to be one of the main messages I'm hearing these days is not to, you don't have to worry about whether you're being too much in the divine feminine or too much in the divine masculine, but just trusting that you have that divine union within yourself so that you can know what energy is needed. But I really want to come back to something that you said that really was like an aha for me, and I loved it. That the divine feminine is a lot 5D and the masculine is more in the 3D. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because that really was like, oh yeah, that I like that.
Yes, I love this. So when I think of the 5D and the ethereal realms and very much the spiritual energy, right? And the 3D as the physical world that we are operating in. Here's kind of an example I like to use. If I were in my divine feminine, fully in my power and my gifts, and all I did all day, every day was keep that to myself and just sat in meditation and sat at my altar and sat in prayer and never executed it or if I never took inspired action out in the physical world, I wouldn't be serving the collective. It would be great that I'm in the 5D and I'm living up here and that's amazing. But unless we're grounding it down in the 3D, then it's not making a difference. It can make a difference because that energy does expand. And I'm not trying to say that there's anything wrong with that, because listen, I'm all about being in my cave and being able to really just sit in that energy and that essence. However, I feel that, again, that masculine energy of the 3D is bringing that inspired action forward into the earth, into the world, into the collective, and really taking, again, inspired action rather than just cooking up all of this greatness up in the 5D and then not doing anything with it. I think that that's where they come into such a beautiful balance and harmony of being able to, okay, I'm going to meditate on this, allow myself to receive whatever information that I need, plant this seed. And then once the seed is planted, 5D, I'm going to take care of it in the 3D. I'm going to water it. I'm going to make sure it has proper sunlight. I'm going to talk to it and give it that loving energy. That is really that nurturing energy that is masculine. Divine masculine energy is also nurturing and protective and very wise as well. So I think that that's something so beautiful to bring forward, because I hear a lot of talk about 5D, which is great, but what are we doing in the 3D? Because that's what we need. That's why we're on Earth. Otherwise, we would be in our star form, right? We'd be this infinite light being that's somewhere out in the cosmos. We wouldn't be here on the earth. We're here to make a difference. We're here to have an impact, to ground in our purpose, to bring these gifts forward to the collective. It's so much bigger than just us. So I think that when we can, again, put it all out there in the 5D, ground it in the 3D, balance those energies. Oh my goodness. That's when we're in that powerful divine alchemist energy.
Well said. Very, very, very well said. And it's so refreshing to hear that, more and more these days, that you need both. You need both, and neither one is better than the other or more appropriate than the other. There is the concept for anybody who's maybe not familiar with the divine feminine and divine masculine energy balance, it's the wounded, right? There's the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, and so much of our culture previously was built upon that imbalanced energy, but having the divine feminine and masculine energies is just such a totally different reality. So
Absolutely.
I'm all for that. I think all of
Yes.
us are. I think we all are. Yeah. Wow. So I'm just going to take a little pause here and shift gears a tiny bit. Not too much, but I want to talk about this book chapter. Okay. That I know this book is coming out in next month, very soon, right? Radha Nelia Publishing House is going to be publishing the stories of the goddess. And I know you have a chapter in there called Embodying the Goddess Within You. Would you like to share a little bit about your journey with writing this chapter and a little preview of what your chapter might be about? We don't want to give it all away, but
I love it. Yes. So this opportunity actually was gifted to me by a friend, and she had sent it to me. And I saw the cover and I saw the stories of the goddess, and my higher self is really good about telling me, you're doing that. You're going to be in that. So it was an instant, I'm going to be in this. I'm going to contribute a chapter. This is going to be such a beautiful collective piece. And I knew that right when I saw the cover and when I saw even just the form, because I think we had to fill out, there was a survey that we filled out and went through the process. And I hopped on a call with Radha and Danielle, and I could just feel the energy and the love of them planting the seed of this idea. And I could feel the energy and the love of every single woman's highest self and every goddess's highest self that is contributing in this book, in this piece. And I could feel all the energy. And I knew that this was going to be so expansive and so game changing. So the friend that gifted me this chapter, because I wasn't in a space to be able to invest in it in that moment when it was time. And it was so funny because I was talking to her. I want to talk a little bit about this because I feel it's important.
Yeah.
I was saying, I'm hoping the funds come through. I'm praying that the universe gives me the funds so that I can invest in this. And she said, my love, I've offered to gift you this spot in the chapter. The universe is using me as a channel. And this is Jessica Phillips, by the way. She's also a writer in this collaborative piece.
Okay, great.
My very best friends. So she lovingly brought that forward. And that is the divine feminine energy of being able to receive. And that was a very big thing for me to work on. So I was like, wait a second, you're right. You did offer this multiple times. And I am such a believer that someone isn't going to do something unless they genuinely want to. And I knew it was coming from a heart-centered space. So I said yes, and I received, which I'll be honest, was very hard for me to do. Just because I'm not someone that loves to receive help. I now see it as receiving that support and that loving guidance from the universe. But at the time, it was definitely, it was something that I had to really allow myself to ground into. So anyways, upon writing the chapter, I really was thinking of what message, because I love the divine feminine. I could write 10 books all about the different energies of the divine feminine. I can talk about the divine feminine energy forever. I love all things goddess. So I really sat with my guides and my angels and my highest self and felt into, what does the collective need? The beautiful souls that are going to find this chapter, what aspect of my story do I need to share with them? And I had a little bit of resistance with what was coming through, just because it was a little hard for me to talk about. I talk about in my chapter my experience with my mother, who growing up was my abuser. That's really hard to speak on, especially with where she's at right now in her journey. She's not fully coherent. She's in a nursing home at the young age of 62. She's really in and out of her body. So it's still sensitive for me to speak on, just because it was a lot to experience in childhood and teenhood, and so much inner work and healing that has come through that experience and that journey. And that's why I needed to write about it. So it was scary at first. And it was so beautiful because I work with a lot of different goddesses, and it was kind of hard for me to hone in on one goddess, just because I feel that so often, even throughout the day, I feel their energies come in and out. Sometimes it's Kuan Yin, especially in healing sessions. Just one of the main goddesses that I work with, Artemis, Diana, all of these goddesses that are very present in my life and in my journey. So it's very hard for me to just pick one. And I had this meditative experience, and the goddesses that I work with, it was as if they were all lined up, and they took my hand and they lined me up with them. And they said, you are a goddess. You are incarnated as a goddess in your form.
Oh,
We're not on a pedestal. We're not, I keep getting chills this whole
yeah.
interview.
Yeah, me too.
They said, we're not any better than you. We're not on a pedestal. You are me, I am you. And that is the divine energy and essence of the goddess. So my chapter, Embodying the Goddess Within You, is all about knowing that that goddess exists within us, and she is unique to us, and she is powerful, and she is this beautiful blend of all of these unique energies, because every single one of us is unique here.
Yes.
So it's really about, yes, me sharing my story, my experiences with my mother, how that shaped me as a woman, especially because we talked about earlier the wounding of the wounded masculine, wounded feminine.
Yes.
I had a lot of wounds with the feminine. I actually had a really strong connection to the divine masculine, because a lot of the divine masculines in my world, the primary energy of the divine masculine, were very amazing and great, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
But when it came to the divine feminine, there was a lot of healing that needed to be done. So I shared a lot about that, and how sometimes we think that what we need is outside of us, and truly, honestly, it's always within. That's kind of the gist of the chapter, and I don't want to give too much away, but I hope that answered just enough to get people excited to be able to read it, just because I know that, again, that goddess is within every single one of us. So that's really what I wanted to bring forward, because so many times, I think even with healers, mentors, coaches, speakers, what's the word I'm looking for? These inspirational people, sometimes we put them on this pedestal. Right. And this is really big, that we recognize that we are all equal, genuinely, honestly, sincerely, and we all have a shadow and a light, and that's okay. That's what makes us whole. That's what makes us human on earth. So I think that was a really big message that needed to come through in this chapter.
Beautiful. I look forward to reading it. Yeah. Thank you for sharing about that. And, I think writing is healing. It is very healing, but it takes some courage sometimes to share, stories. So I'm very grateful that you took that opportunity to heal for yourself and for all of us, and your lineage, right? The 7 generations back and forward, it's a beautiful thing to do. And I got chills when I said that. So
I love
we've got some healing going on in our lineages. And there was one more point about something you said in there. You had so many good things. I'm probably gonna have to follow up with you later too, after I listen to this episode again. But when you talked about I think the word that came to me when you said was like the gurus, right? And that we are our own guru. And I'm getting there. I'm getting this coming back to me. I think what we do for one another is that we support one another, right? As healers or as coaches or mentors, we support and we provide tools, and we're also a sacred mirror, right? Like, because sometimes you can't see what's back here.
Right. It's in the blind spot.
Like there's some and it's done with love. So it's not like pointing things out that are wrong, with you. It's just, if we move this a little over here, it might feel a lot better. And so just wanting to honor what you said about that, to coming back to what's true within you. And I think that's true when you follow a divinely inspired, life as a woman is, there's a lot of really amazing books and people and things out there, but to bring that all back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Into your heart. And
absolutely.
So how do people, I have 2 more questions for you, but how do people find out more about you? And let's start with that.
Okay, I love this. So my website is amoritaspurpose.com. Everything is on there. Beautiful. And I'm working on getting more inner workshops. I love to run week-long, sometimes 6 weeks long group coaching containers. that really are for people that want that support live, and then also being able to take those workshops and have them on my website. So the people that love to go at their own pace and just kind of do it in their own way can do it there also. I'm working on getting all of that up and running. So I'll have more inner workshops on there.
Nice.
But everything can be found on my website. I do offer distance energy healing with Holy Fire Reiki energy, or just energetic healing, whatever the client needs. And then I call my life coaching divine guidance, just because it resonates so much more with me personally. So I love to offer divine guidance. Right now, I'm really focusing on just being of service any way that I can. But my website is on there. And then my Instagram, I'm pretty active on Instagram. So it's Amorita's Purpose.
Oh, beautiful.
Amorita. So
great.
Yeah.
Great. And I will have that in the write-up that goes with this podcast. So anybody who didn't catch that, you can see it in print a little bit later. Yeah. Gosh, I feel like I could talk to you for a lot longer here. There's so much coming up.
It's mutual, sister.
Oh, I feel like I've met a soul sister. And so I got chills when I said that too. But tell me, what is one last thing you would like to share? And let's also just, before we do that, let's take a moment to, I just want to take a moment of gratitude to Radha for introducing us to one another, because I really feel that that's part of that defined feminine guidance system, is like bringing us together, right?
Yeah.
And so that we can continue to expand the heart consciousness on this planet. So now I'm going to ask you, what is the one thing that you would just burning desire to share?
Ooh, such a good question. Also feeling the love and also grateful for the connection. I think it's so powerful to trust the call. That's something that's coming through really strong right now. Again, when something comes forward for us, if we even take a moment of being in that energy of, I wonder if this means something deeper, to trust it, dive in, dig deeper, even sitting with it and asking, where is this feeling coming from? Where is this hunch coming from? Where am I being guided to? Because the more that we can do that and really pay attention to the magic that's literally all around us all the time, the more we're able to really live an enchanted life. And I mean that sincerely and honestly. It's what we focus on that expands, right? So if we focus on the magic and the miracles and the unconditional love that is available to us, then we can create more of that in our world. And we need that in the world now more than ever. We need you to be united and to have compassion and empathy and understanding. And I think that if all of us could just spread a little bit more love and be a little bit more conscious of, as you mentioned earlier, the sacred mirror, how would I want to be treated? And how am I treating those around me? Because it's true when we say or hear, hurt people, and that does happen. And also, we don't have to. We don't have to just be projecting what we have experienced to the outside world. So if we can come together and really recognize that we're all just walking each other home, then we can really enjoy our experience and expand our souls even greater than we could have ever imagined. And we can make connections that are right in front of us. Because I feel a lot of times there's so many divinely aligned opportunities that are being orchestrated, but it's up to us to pay attention and to say yes. I'm all about saying yes, because we can be gifted with an incredible opportunity, but if we don't take it, that's our free will, and we all have free will. So I could keep going. I'm going to that, because I really could. I could keep going for hours.
No, I would love to let you keep going. I do know that we're coming up though on our ending for today's show. So perhaps we can have a second visit sometime in the future. I would love that. So I just really, again, want to thank you for being a guest today. I really feel inspired by your story, and I'm looking forward to your chapter in Stories of the Goddess, the embodying the goddess within you. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And until next time, continue to be open to being divinely inspired as you walk through your day. All right. Bye-bye until next time. Mm-hmm. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Divinely Inspired Woman. Again, I'm your host, Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I am so glad that you joined us here today. I hope you left with some soul food to inspire your daily life. And if you would like to learn more about my work, please check out my website, patriciawaldhopkins.com, and you can find out more about my divinely inspired practice and tools. So, thank you again. Have a beautiful day. Hi. I'm dropping in here with an announcement about a program, a new mentorship that I am offering. It's called Voices of Gaia, and it's about bringing your voice, your leadership, your life in alignment with Gaia's guidance. So if you feel called to learn more about this program, it's a beautiful, rich program where we dive into your essence, and if you so desire, we develop your business around it and really blossom into your whole lifestyle, this wisdom from Gaia that wants to be spoken through you. So if you feel called, reach out to me at patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. That's patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. There's no hyphen between Wald and Hopkins. And I would just love to hear from you and see if this is a good fit. So thank you for tuning in. Have a beautiful day.